Ladies and gentlemen, your favorite Zionist prince coming to you live from Tehran, Iran, end of the Islamic regime. Ladies and gentlemen, let's listen to Chris Cuomo and what he's got going on with Iran.
Chris Cuomo here. Welcome to News Nation, where right and left come to be reasonable. And my brother and sister, tonight, it's time to forget the fringe, the feigned outrage that has consumed us. Forget about looking right and left. Eyes forward, because there is a threat to all of us, and it's right now, right here. Israel is taking incoming explosives. We'll show the pictures tonight. We'll watch what's happening. The Iron Dome has once again been largely successful, but not perfect. And we'll be hearing about casualties. We'll see what was taken out. It is nowhere near the kind of sophistication, substance, or successfulness that we saw with Israel's attack last night, what they called a preemptive strike. What you're watching is how the Iron Dome operates. And I have to tell you something, having sat in Tel Aviv and watched it up close on more than one occasion, this is all happening right overhead. You see that one just hit. They can't get all of it. This is a scary night in Tel Aviv. Now, the reaction for some to say, well, this is what they get. They asked for it. Don't forget who the other party is in this, okay? You know the expression, check yourself before you wreck yourself? The idea of any kind of acknowledgement or any kind of half-stepping when it comes to Iran is crazy. Look, we'll talk about the timing, the tactics, the what, if any, plan there is involving the U.S. or what happens next. But we've already seen in the reaction here at home, we're already in danger. Just watch the reaction to the attack on this horrible Islamist regime, and you see the problem. I'm not calling for war. America doesn't have an appetite for it. I don't know that there's a victory that can come in it, frankly, unless you want to occupy and overthrow. And I don't think that's where the president's head is. Certainly hasn't been in the past. It's not what this is about. It's not about wanting war. It's about recognizing the reality of who these people are. This regime, not the Iranian people. Condemning Israel's attacks, fine. But what would be better? Calling Israel the reckless and genocidal regime? How? When Iran has been actively trying to get as many people to kill the Jews and Americans as they can for years. Do these people here in power in America, groups with like real membership and real backing, do you really intend on taking the side of terrorists again? I told you that the Hamas support was not a one-off. There are groups committed to fundamentalist extreme ideas that may come from lots of different sources and economic and philosophical and political realities, but they all meet and intersect at the same place, destroying our democracy and culture. This is why I tell the parties to chill with the break-it bombast as a sell for disruption. I get it, disruption is the flavor of the moment, but you have to be careful with that kind of talk. Change is good. Destroying what we are and what we have is not. Pay attention to the groups funded by the Shanghai communist businessman Neville Singham. I told you about him earlier this week. Look him up, Singham. And I'm not just talking about rogue radicals. We have legit lawmakers saying things that must be taken seriously. Representative Rashida Tlaib supporting Iran and calling Israel rogue and genocidal? Almost as bad are the people in her party who sit back and say nothing. Now is not the time. Where is AOC? Where are you, Representative? You are usually desperate for attention. Why so quiet? Are you worried your fellow socialists who don't think Israel has a right to exist will be upset if you speak truth about Iran being an absolute enemy? If you're a feminist, how do you not decry the fact that Iran would jail you for how you speak, for how you dress, that they would slaughter your LGBTQ plus constituents? Now is not the time for silence or acquiescence, nor certainly any perverse obeisance to a terror organization again. Even Senator Bernie Sanders, I'm surprised, calling Israel's attack illegal, says it hurts negotiations. What negotiations? Isn't he on the Senate Foreign Relations Committee? You really think Iran is going to ever let people check their abilities? They are, I know, the senator knows this, but he's not living it with his politics. They want to kill Bernie as a Jew, as an American, as an infidel. They want to kill him. They're not going to tell you the truth. They're not going to keep a deal. They never have. Tim Walz wanted to be president and vice president of the United States. Really wants to say that we've surrendered moral authority by supporting Israel after targeting Iran, and that China may have the high moral ground? Are you nuts? They have 1 million Muslim ethnic minorities, the Uyghurs, in camps in China. What are you doing? I know that you think it's a way to attack Trump, but you seem crazy when you play politics, when there is an active terror threat against us. And don't say, yeah, no, only now because of what Israel did. No. As far as we know at this point, Israel says it had to do it. We don't know why. We'll try to find out more tonight. We'll wait for the president to tell us more. But we already know what matters. Iran has done terrible things to us. One of their agents is sitting in a U.S. prison right now for trying to kill Trump. They tried to interfere in our elections. They launched ballistic missile attacks against our troops in the Middle East. They seized our naval boat. You want to support something in Iran? Good. Support revolution. Don't support the despotic regime. Support the people who are desperate and who are oppressed and subjugated. Rally for them to fight for their freedom against a toxic Islamist horde that has committed countless human rights abuses against their own people. Call for that. I'm not saying America should go to war. It's not my place to make that case. It's my place to test that case. But you remember Mahsa Amini, the 22-year-old woman who was arrested, beaten, tortured, and murdered by the Iranian morality police? Oxymorons of all oxymorons. Why? For not wearing a headscarf. This is why AOC and other women and advocates and allies should not be quiet about what this is. This is not Israel, beating up on somebody. Iranians went into the streets. We covered it here at News Nation a lot, more than most. They protested, and the regime brutally clamped down. There is no freedom of speech. They executed several protesters. You know it's a crime to be gay in Iran, right? You know the punishment is flogging and execution. This is who you want to say is a victim of Israel. You know that when they first came in, this regime, they used children, some as young as 9, to run through minefields to clear the ground for their invading armies into Iraq. They said they were giving the kids keys to paradise because martyrdom brings you such blessings. This is not about God. This is about being psychotic, is what this kind of extreme Islamism is. This is a regime that spends countless dollars exporting terror across the Middle East and the globe, including backing Hamas, even though there's Sunni-Shia conflict, on October 7th. And that's who you want to say needs support. And for those on the right saying it's not our fight, I hear you. Again, I don't know that there's any will in America to put boots on the ground in the Middle East, even against an obvious enemy, because what's the upside? You can't kill an idea. It's very hard. You got to change it. And I think the president disagrees with you. I think that he does believe that we should be invested in this situation in a way some of you don't, even in his party. Yes, he said he didn't want Israel attacking Iran, but let's be honest. The president says a lot of things. And now we understand he may have been part of some, plan to allow cover for Israel to surprise Iran. We'll talk about it more tonight. And he's certainly supporting Israel now, going farther than Rubio and others did last night, claiming the U.S. was totally looped in on them. I don't know what happens next. I don't know what the plan is. I don't know if there is a plan. And I don't know if this latest phase makes things better or worse. But I know this. Iran is absolutely the head of the snake when it comes to Islamist terror targeting Americans. And anyone who doesn't get that is part of the problem. Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download.
You know, I've never watched Cuomo speak before. He is actually pretty eloquent and pretty on point here. He definitely recognizes the head of the snake situation, and that's probably the most important thing to recognize, period. Also, as for Trump and Bibi and this whole negotiation thing, I really don't know how much of this is just Trump saving face and just saying it to say it. Like, hey, we knew about this the whole time. We even helped, just to sound cool. Because it is kind of cool. It's nicer to imagine that Trump was helping, but I also feel like that would kind of be a Trumpy thing to do. But listen, it's a systematic problem. You're either on the side of evil or you're on the side of good. There's no, and this isn't a narrative thing. It isn't. I think the Islamic regime of Iran, the proxies of Iran, Hezbollah, Houthis, Hamas, are evil, like objectively evil. These are terrible organizations. And while you can criticize Israelis, you can criticize Israeli society, you can criticize the IDF for having evil elements to them. I'll capitulate you that point. I'll say to you, yes, we all have some badness in us. Even our army, even our government, even our country, even our civilians. The country as a whole is incredible. The society is incredible. It's trying to do good. When it comes to the IRGC and its proxies, it's pure, unadulterated evil. Evil. And that's why they're going to lose this. And that's the truth. They can't survive this. They cannot survive the heat that is coming. It's about to get spicy. Spicy. Sorry, I have hiccups. I'll see you guys in the next one. I love you a long time. Goodbye, class.
If you believe in my content and want to support me, just know your help is needed. There's a bunch of great ways to support me, being PayPal, Buy Me a Coffee, or joining my Patreon community down below. Patreon is the best way to support my channel, and you'll get a bunch of cool perks depending on what tier you join. Another great way to support me is by buying my merchandise on thetravelingclat.com. I regularly drop new merch designs like this beautiful hat, or this amazing shirt, where you can support the channel and get something cool for yourself. I also have an amazing Discord community with people from all over the world. Much for your support.